Coming up, as you know, the President of the United States will be appearing at something called APEC, not OPEC, APEC, the Asian Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit, November the 13th through the 15th in Singapore. Now, last week, President Obama welcomed Lee Kuan Yew, who was the former prime minister and Singapore's de facto leader, invited him to the Oval Office, and called him one of the legendary figures of Asia in the 20th and 21st century and somebody who helped trigger the Asian economic miracle. Well, there is a fellow who we have on, Chee Soon Juan, who would heartily, most vehemently disagree. This is a man who's been jailed, harassed. He has been sued into bankruptcy. He would say, oh, no. He has a different take on this. And he, of course, is the leader of the Singapore Democratic Party. Chee Soon Juan, welcome to the Lionel Show, sir. Mr. Juan, explain to us what you would have the President of the United States say at this upcoming APEC summit, and explain your own particular journey that you've been through and what you have endured in this administration or in this regime, if I could.
Yes, this is like President Obama to just acknowledge that there are very serious human rights abuses in Singapore, and not just come over to Singapore to talk trade and ignore all the problems that we have here with democracy and freedom. Because as long as you do that and you just want to do business, make deals, and open up trade at the expense of democracy, then you basically just looking at a situation where people here don't have rights and are being exploited. And I don't believe that's what globalization is all about. That's the direction that we're headed. And so we'd like at least President Obama to be able to talk to some of the leaders here in Singapore to tell them that it's important that transparency and accountability that goes together with democratic openness is important if we are going to continue to trade in a globalized world. In the situation that we have here in Singapore currently, even one person cannot demonstrate and conduct a protest. And this law was it's called the Public Order Act, which just passed just a few months ago in preparation for the APEC summit. The other only countries that I know that completely outlaw protests, peaceful protests, are North Korea and Burma, in the region at least. So we'd like President Obama to at least be able to bring some of these issues, that democratic principles and freedom is important for trade, and economic rights and political rights are just two sides of the same coin.
Now, we're talking to Chee Soon Juan of the Singapore Democratic Party. Chee Soon Juan, what has happened to you? Tell us your own particular plight, what you have endured, sir.
Well, I faced multiple charges. I've already been in prison on 7 occasions for speaking in public and for just conducting very small protests. You're talking small, 5, 6 persons just coming together, and even just distributing flyers. That's disallowed. And we're going through several trials right now. And as I said, I've been in prison a few times already just for speaking up and speaking in public. And in Singapore, that's not allowed. You require a permit. And I've also been sued on 3 separate occasions, and each time the courts have ordered me to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in damages. The first time that they sued me, my wife and I, we sold off our house, our car, and all our possessions just to make good the payment. Otherwise, we will be declared bankrupt and be barred from standing for elections. And the second and third time that I've been sued by these government officials, and you're talking about Lee Kuan Yew himself, I wasn't able to pay the amounts already, and therefore I've been declared bankrupt by the courts. And because of my bankruptcy, I've not been able to stand for elections, nor have I been able to leave the country because of my bankruptcy. So,
now, this is an incredible thing to understand, Chee Soon Juan. Here in this country, as you know, when you are bankrupt, well, that doesn't, you're not unable to run for office, a whole public office. We don't have debtor's prison. But how nefarious is this? sue you in a kangaroo court. You're going to lose. Then when you lose, you're ordered to pay an inordinate amount of money as damages. You can't pay that. Hence, you go bankrupt, and that silences you. That is as nefarious and as underhanded as one can imagine. Now, who is this party, the People's Action Party, and what do they represent? And do you think it likely that the president would be able to address these concerns, or would he say, do you think, theoretically, Chee Soon Juan, I know what you're saying is correct, but I cannot, if I only dealt with fair people, if I only tried to reach an economic consensus with countries who treated their people fairly, I'd be talking to Canada only. It's a different world. How would you address those claims? And who are these people?
Yeah, that's exactly. If the U.S. really wants to be pragmatic about things, you cannot deny that democracy makes good economic and business sense. Because if you just look at what just happened to Indonesia just a few years ago, the country where it was just being extolled under Suharto for being this economic miracle, everybody neglected, didn't want to talk about these democratic and political freedoms, and everybody just wanted to talk trade. And because there was no democracy, there was no accountability, no transparency, and that bred corruption. And when the economy started to unravel, everything imploded. And this is where this is one message that I want to get to President Obama, that if he wants to engage Asia, don't just engage us just where dollars and cents, on just dollars and cents. Make sure that the economic and political rights of the people, of Asians, the common people, are also on the table. And that's got to be important, because otherwise you're going to be talking about just purely exploitation by the multinationals just coming in here and making sure the wages in Asia here are just artificially depressed.
Well, Chee Soon Juan from the Singapore Democratic Party, I want to thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for making us aware of a situation that we would not have been aware of were it not for you. And I admire your fight and your struggle, sir. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.